Well, good morning and welcome. Thanks everyone for joining. Pretty exciting for us to pull together this webinar today. Apologies, we were meant to be at the High Performer building in Ellerslie, Auckland, but bit of fog got in the way, and it's myself and Durapanel. So pulled together a virtual webinar in our head offices here. So today, just presenting, I've got myself, Peter Broadhill from General Manager of QPOD here. I've got Vincent Garvin and Durapanel. We're going to give us a little bit of overview of the Durapanel system. Hopefully Lester from High Performer Building might be able to jump on soon as well. That's where we're meant to be at our display there in Ellerslie. So the two products completely independent. The only similarities, I guess, is we were both in the High Performer building in Ellerslie, and thought, hey, there's a great opportunity to maybe bring some joint benefit to designers and builders out there, just to introduce new products, introduce different products to the industry, and bring some benefit. And both sharing a lot of traits around time saving and installation benefits, speed benefits on site. So keen to just dive into that. So throughout the webinar, we're only going to be about 20 minutes today. We'll keep this time of yours. I don't want to use it up. And so throughout, if you want to just put a question, you got a question, put it in the chat box, and pop it in there. Sam will pipe up and just let us know live those questions, and we'll try and answer them live as we go. That's the best way we find it. Makes it a bit more engaging for everyone there. And today we're just going to have a little look at a few elements, 4 elements of the two products, QPOD foundation systems and the Durapanel system. We're going to have a look at a product overview, number 1, of both systems. We're going to have a look at number 2, waste and sustainability, and number 3, technical aspects of each, little common questions in the industry, and then number 4, getting started and wrapping up with a special offer for everyone on the call today. So as I mentioned throughout, please ask questions in the chat box, find them in there, and we'll bring them to everyone live. So thank you all again for joining. Hopefully everyone's pretty well jumped on now and we can get it well underway. So kicking off, Vincent, if you want to introduce yourself and Durapanel and give us a little bit of an overview on the Durapanel system.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. Good morning to you all. Feel free to pop any questions in the chat as we go along. I'll do my best to answer them there. So yeah, diving into what Durapanel is all about. So in a nutshell, Durapanel is a structural panel system. This system is large panel sheets, 4 meters by 2.5 meters, and it replaces traditional framing and plasterboard. We mainly focus on wall and ceiling kit sets. We design and manufacture these off-site, and then we deliver them through the country as a flat pack solution. Can you hear me okay there, Peter?
Yeah, good as, Vincent.
Brilliant, good. So yeah, obviously there's lots of benefits with going with Durapanel. Firstly, it's super quick to erect on site. Having the system all pre-cut, pre-drilled, there's very little thinking for the builder. It's millimeter accurate, and it just glues and screws together, just like a giant Meccano set.
So that's so just glues and screws together. So what are the real key advantages for designers over a typical framing?
Yeah, good question, Peter. So the key advantages for designers is when they design a Durapanel, obviously we focus down on residential and developers. So once the system is designed in Durapanel and want to do repetitive builds, it's just a click of the button. We can obviously produce multiple kit sets the same. So there's a huge efficiency gain in making building easier.
Yeah, cool. Beauty.
Probably another big benefit with the system is that's a solid finish lining panel. So the day that these panels get stood on site, we're actually we're standing the plasterboard. So there is no plasterboard. So once this building is at a lock-up sort of weather-tight position, we can get trades going in, we can get painters going in, and that really, having the trades working in parallel helps shorten the build cycle down. So for a typical example, a residential house might take sort of 12 weeks from slab down to completion. Well, we can shorten that through to 8 weeks. And that's saving, like some of our builders say, they can save up to 40%. And that saving is just through having less trades and parallel trades on site.
Beauty. Nice. So we'll probably cover some of those more technical aspects later on in point number 3. Just to give a little overview on QPOD. So our background is manufacturing plastic products for the construction industry. My father started back in the 80s making bar chairs for holding up steel and concrete. So off the back of the polystyrene rib raft coming in the early 2000s, we thought, let's make a recycled plastic pod version of this, and embarked typically on the raft methodology, which most of New Zealand's familiar with. I've just got behind me here just a bit of a display. You can kind of see it on close to me here is a raft version where you typically have your ribs at 1200 centres, and then over here you can see it running continuous. So this is the continuous system is a new one we've released early this year and code marked without ribs. So you essentially take those ribs out of a typical rib raft and you've got a continuous run of plastic pods. So in a typical slab, that takes out about 7 cube of concrete and half the steel. So it's a massive game changer in making a recycled plastic pod foundation cheap and affordable, along with your typical rib raft.
Sorry, Peter, I might just jump in here. It's a question for Vincent, if that's all right.
Yeah,
just,
no problem.
How thick and soundproof are the interior walls? Sorry to jump in on the QPOD thing there, but someone just had a question about Durapanel.
That's good. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, good question. How thick and soundproof are the interior walls? Our standard thickness is 36 mil. It's a solid panel, as you see there. As far as sound's concerned, it's got an STC rating much the same as 2 sheets of plasterboard. It's about STC 30. We do obviously do a lot of double skin walls where we have certain situations where you need to increase sound, which is just a simple batten attached to that, and then we skin it with a second liner. Hopefully that answers that one. Back to you, Peter. We're talking about the obviously the ease of installation on site. We all know what some of those slabs look like when the wind picks up and it ends up in the neighbours. Is that not the case with yours, is what you're saying? Yeah,
that's happened there with the polystyrene pods, polystyrene blown away. Now, get a windy site with QPOD, we've had the exact case where builders have been very worried overnight that the site's going to be blown away. But nah, QPOD doesn't move an inch. Builder got back in the morning and everything's just sitting there neat without even steel on it. So it stays real sound, doesn't blow away.
Brilliant. Good. So we're jumping through to point 2, waste and sustainability. We'll talk about that. Let's start with QPOD. How do you play into this, Pete?
Yeah, cheers. So waste and sustainability is obviously a massive thing. I mean, it's always been a big thing, but it's more important as ever that we take care of the environment around us. We don't want to live in a mess. New Zealand's pretty good at looking after their own backyard, so we're pretty responsible in that way anyway. But absolutely, so no waste on site with QPOD. So obviously replacing that polystyrene, and that's the reason why we've developed what we have. You got no polystyrene offcuts. It's a modular system that's clipped together, and there's nothing after the site that really is put in the skip, apart from maybe some little cutouts from the services. When you cut a hole for a service, you get a little bit of plastic. So yeah, you get a handful of bits and pieces, but really all the components can be reused on the next site. Nothing's wasted. It's all 100% recycled plastics as well. So we manufacture here in Napier, Hawke's Bay, family-owned business, family-owned design and product. And yeah, it's all from recycled plastics here, sourced in New Zealand and offshore, and looking at other waste streams as well. So it's a long-term thought.
Just on that recycled plastic, so do you know how much actual plastic, like on a typical, I don't know, residential house, how much plastic would actually be used in a slab?
Yeah, so it takes a 180 square metre home, which is kind of standard that we sort of model things on. We would essentially have recycled and ground up 27,000 bottles, so plastic soft drink bottles, your Coke bottles, and put them into product. And that's literally recycled soft drink bottles put into a pod that goes in the ground. There's no fluffy stuff there, no funny stories. It's actually, yeah, it is genuinely recycled product.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, as far as Durapanel is concerned, we're doing our bit as the sustainable environment. Obviously, the product itself, that's New Zealand made. All our timber sourced from renewable pine forests.
You were telling me earlier, Vincent, about the log usage. Was it 95% of the log used?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, so because we're using a reconstituted the strands of timber, we're using all the log. We can use lower grade bits of the log. So yeah, 95%. That's correct. Another great benefit in sustainability is when we produce our kit sets in the factory, all the offcuts. So we get the doors and we get the windows. We recycle those. We use them for other purposes, and so that means when the kit set actually arrives on site, there's no wastage. There's no filling up skip bins with bits of wood or plasterboard. It's a clean.
Yeah, that was my other question. Like on site, I mean, that's the biggest pain point right now is cleaning up the on-site mess. So you can reduce that from the plasterboard.
Totally. Yeah, and it's a safety factor too. A clean site.
Nice.
Vincent, sorry, can I just jump in here as well? Just got a question here from Jaden, who's asking, are you P21 tested?
Yeah, sorry, I'm not too sure on the exact answer there. I could get one of our technical guys to reach out. That maybe he could even explain that a bit further. That'd be good.
Sure thing. For bracing. Yeah.
Okay, so we have our own bracing calculations done. We've got a brands appraisal system. So we have our own tables and obviously bracing calcs for the panel, yes. So obviously we could supply that technical brands appraisal. We could send it out to Jaden. That would go through all the bracing elements as far as structurally lintels and bracing designs.
Perfect. Cool. That sounds great. Yep, that sounds great. And also just a question here for Peter from Jaden as well. Jaden wants to know what TC categories does the brand's appraisal cover? TC1, TC2, TC3.
Yeah, good. So speaking of the code mark, which was done by Global Mark in Australia, so similar to the brand's appraisal in a way, it's probably slightly more official in the code mark sense. So this out here, running the pods continuous with no ribs, is suitable for good grounds and down to 200 kPa, so essentially TC1. Now, as soon as you're heading into TC2 category, TC3 category, that's where we see the raft system in use. And that's the system over here where you've got the ribs at 1200 centres and the 220 high FOD and slightly higher spec in steel and mesh oftentimes to achieve the shear strength required for those TC2 liquefaction rift sites and also expansivity sites, especially as we see Auckland North.
Thanks, Peter.
Cheers, Peter. Probably dives us into the point number 3, technical aspects, but go on, Vincent.
No, I was just going to say exactly that. While you're talking about that, you might want to answer some of the other technical questions Obviously, R value, that's a big one. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, R value. I mean, H1 R value is a hot topic right now. It's been on the news about the H1 and suggested changes there, which I'm sure got plenty of people thinking and talking. No comments there today, but yeah, R values and achieving them. Typical slabs, I mean, raft slabs, continuous pod slabs do perform well naturally. They give a good insulation barrier from the ground. So just a raft slab or a QPOD continuous slab will alone achieve sometimes compliant R values if it's a fairly simple shaped house. We've got a lot of houses in Hawke's Bay going down with the latest standards, not having to put any insulation on. However, as soon as you've got a bit of detail, a lot of windows, a lot of ins and outs, you often are needing to put some insulation in. So yeah, edge insulations, under slab insulations, all options. There's a lot of options out there in the market. We're seeing a lot of 50mm XPS under slab going in, being a very easy option. We're also seeing some of the edge insulation systems going in. We see a lot of quick set edge insulation going in, so they've got a quick edge system and a quick set brace system. See a lot of that. Resine to a product, we see that going in. But yeah, it's horses for courses, and they all got their pros and costs. So yeah, but we've got calculators online that help you with all that. You can go on there, put in your area and lineal meters, and it will give you some solutions, some options, which we can share those links following this webinar as well. But yeah, other technical points, such as plumbing, I kind of touched on that earlier. You get your vertical penetrations coming through the pods. Simply cut out a pod and slip your pod over top, and then seal up where that penetration comes through.
Just what does the steel, like how does the steel detail work through those ribs?
Steel. Yeah, so steel detailing. So your typical perimeter steel detailing would look like 3 H12s, 2 on the bottom, 1 on the top, and then your hockey stick bars at 1100 centimeters. That's just tying in your perimeter to your topping, and then your SE62 mesh over top. One of the beauties about the QPOD, if I can just bring the camera down for a moment just to show you, they do have a built-in bar chair on top. So you can see on here, I've got that 40mm bar chair built in, so you get that awesome even mesh placement over the slab, and not having to put any bar chairs in. You've essentially got a bar chair on every pod. But then your rib steel for the raft types, obviously you have a steel going down the rib there, and then for the continuous, not having any ribs, you just have your perimeter steel detailing, and obviously 2 H12s for a thickening, and your 3 H12s for the perimeter bars.
Brilliant, super easy. Yeah, well, obviously Durapanel's got lots of technical questions. I just see one there on the chat. What is the exterior finish?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, what is for the wall panels? What is the exterior finish? Is it pre-painted? What additional requirements required for bathroom interiors? Thanks for that, Barry.
So the panel obviously comes out of the factory primed. That's a solid finish, solid fiber. That's actually one of the big benefits of your internal walls of your house. It's a durable, robust, so you can't punch a hole through it. And when it comes to bathrooms, this is fine to tile onto. Obviously, if it's a wet area, we have to waterproof. Yeah, typical acrylic showers. You can put the liners straight onto this panel. Some builders will put aquajib in there if they want to do if they're going to have to skin the whole wall for cavity anyway. So yeah, there's lots of options in the bathroom, but the big benefit of having that solid surface is it's great for rental investors or just homeowners for peace of mind.
How does your electrical work in such a thin wall there, Vincent? Remind us.
Yeah, so on a typical internal set, that's a typical internal wall, we would chase out for electrical or come up through. If it's a timber floor, we'll drill up through the floor. Obviously, when we have a waste pipe, like in a bathroom situation, we would strap that wall and then would skin it again with a 15 mil or an 80 mil panel just to create that cavity. But when we come to the exterior, we've actually got a 70 mil cavity, dry cavity there anyway. So all your gas and plumbing and electrical can just drop down and punch through the wall. So yeah, hopefully that.
You can do that on site easy enough, yeah.
Yes, yeah. The trades actually love it as far as plumbers and that go. It's easy to screw on wing backs, and all the power points and downlights are cut out for the Sparky. So it's super easy for him. He's just poking wires from A to B and B to C.
Cool.
Yeah.
And delivery to on site, what does that look like from my naive point of view, just for a builder? Getting these on site and installing.
Yeah, good. Because they're a big sheet, they're a 4 meter, say 4 meter by 2.5 is our master board. We would recommend hibes, mechanical clamps to lift them. You can manhandle them if you've got enough horsepower on site. And any licensed builder can take it on. We obviously offer training, especially if it's the first one. A few tips and tricks. We do have an install service as well if you want to supply and install. So yeah, it's obviously utilising the hive is a great benefit with the size of the panel.
And
perfect. Just one other question just popped through just while we got you up there. Vincent, just from Paul, he's asked, can builders make on-site changes to the Durapanel, e.g. make window openings larger? Yeah,
good question, Paul. Obviously, we do have a table to work through. Obviously, with lintels and that, anything sort of up to sort of 2.4 is fine within the panel. We obviously have a lintel matrix that we work through. It's probably recommended to reach out to Durapanel first, just to make sure we're not cutting into any structural elements. But yeah, as far as cutting out the window goes, it's fine. We just have to work with whatever sizing it's going to be.
And obviously R value is a massive thing with slabs. It's a big subject on our everyday questions list. How does it kind of work with your system? So if I was to speak to an architect, how would Durapanel work with a QPOD slab and R value sense? What sort of R values how does it contribute there?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Peter. Well, the panel itself's got a small percentage of R value, but in the main, it's all built into the external cavity. So typically, we'll supply it with a 70 mil factory batten, and we under the new H1 calcs, we can actually still achieve using the schedule method with products like Mammoth, high-performing products like Mammoth, we can achieve R value in the wall. In saying that, a lot of architects now will want to increase this cavity depth, so we actually attach a 90 mil batten quite often, or some builders or some architects will actually specify an extra 70 mil batten onto our batten on site, so that's a 140 cavity. So it really comes back to the depth of this cavity as obviously determines the overall R value of the wall. Another good point on installation though is with panel, because it's a continuous rigid air barrier on the inside, a lot of architects actually using it to help obviously get high performing passive homes. We've had some good testing done, blower door testing with minimal air leakage. So yeah, that's another good point there.
I think that's going to be another thing on the radar too, just reducing the actual moisture count inside that building envelope. And it's another factor QPOD really shone out on when we were doing some independent testing on polystyrene pods versus QPODs. Is in the same type of slab, we actually got a drier internal envelope with QPOD. Obviously, polystyrene can absorb moisture, and hence QPOD got a better result there. So we're looking at moisture in homes, which sit in the spotlights now. Both sound like they work together pretty well.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Firing on to if there's any other questions, Sam, just yell out. But getting started with any of these systems, point number 4, there's a question for anyone on the call today. Like, how do you get going with them? How does a designer take these to a set of plans? How does a builder take them on site? We kind of covered some of that information. If I could talk to QPOD for a start, then Vincent, you can cover Durapanel, but QPOD is obviously there's the code mark system there. So if you've got good ground and all down to 200 kPa, and that little liquefaction, little expansivity issues, you can just take this up as a designer or get your designer to take the code mark up. So that's on our website. You can download it and the certificate, and then all the standard details as well. It's a real simple design. We can do a floor layout for you as well of the QPOD components. So all you need to do is just design that slab, show us where your thicknings are, and we'll do a layout for free of all the components. That's a free of charge from us. If you've got a foreground in the geotech report, that's really what we're looking at a lot of the times, the geotech report. And it calls for an SED design. Obviously, you've got local engineers you work with, like some engineers on call today, hopefully. And any engineer can take this up and engineer it, typically in the raft fashion if we're talking foreground. And they can really take the modelling of a typical raft slab, and you've just got a plastic void former in there, which is so much better on site. So that can be done by any engineer. We do also offer engineering in-house. So, just to make it easy for yourselves, we can take, and maybe you don't have an engineer on hand. We do offer that service for the TC2 type slabs, single level, double level homes.
Yeah, good. Thanks for that. Yeah, well, we're much the same. We've obviously got all our details on the website online. You can download our technical manual, which is, as I said, brands appraised. We also have other just individual details there covering off different sections. Our team, our technical team is there to help. If you have a particular plan you want drawn up, or you just want a quote in comparison, see how the affordability is against traditional, would be more than happy to do that. Obviously, we could also help with support and bracing elements. If you want the bracing plan worked on, we've got in-house team that can help you go through those stages. Yeah, we do have other products as well. Just quickly mention, obviously we've got an IT wall, 60-60-60 wall, and obviously we have door cassettes and other things there as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out. We'd love to help.
IT wall, that's the intertenancy wall. There's you've got a display on that at Ellerslie in Auckland, haven't you?
That's right. Yes. Yeah, that's on display alongside our just our standard residential wall panels.
Yeah. So we were hoping to be there today, but so if anyone's in there in Auckland and they go along to the high performer building in Ellerslie, make sure you take a look at that. Both products are there actually on the display. Cool. So before we wrap up, we do have an offer for everyone on the call today, everyone who joined. But before we do get on to that, if anyone's got any questions, please poke them out, and we'll do our best to answer them. Any we don't get, we'll seek to answer them after the webinar. But yeah, for everyone who joined today, we'd like to thank you, and for everyone who manages to take either the Durapanel system or the QPOD system in a project this month or till the end of next month, we're giving away a select pack of Hawke's Bay wines for every project that you list to us. So go on and submit that project through to us. Sam will send out, following the webinar, a unique code for yourself. As joining today, just present that unique code in any amount of projects that you list this and next month. Apologies also for High Performer Building, Lester, who wasn't able to get on. I see he was trying to get on earlier, he struggled to, but no doubt he'll be firing to add benefit as well. So thank you all. If there's any other questions, Sam, come in. We can knock them off now. Otherwise, we can move on.
Perfect. Yeah, just please pop any questions in the chat box while we got the guys here for the last few minutes. Yep, here we go. So Darren's come through. Durapanel. What happens with concrete floor